Hey everybody, welcome back to another LEGO City update. It's officially October 2025, and this year we want to add some Halloween touches to the LEGO City. I think the perfect place to do that is going to be somewhere over here in the countryside. When we were originally plotting out the land over here, the plan was to add a farm right behind the A-frame cabin. That's why we placed this 4+ set with the sheep right there. There's definitely lots of space open for the taking over here, and this would be the perfect place for a pumpkin patch. However, I would presume that something like a pumpkin patch is going to be quite the attraction for the citizens of the LEGO City, so maybe it should be closer to the road that exits the LEGO City right by the farmer's market, which is of course right across the street from the zoo. So we've got our farmer's market and our beach and stuff, and then we head into the countryside where we have the fenced off area for the train yard. I'm just thinking to myself, we've been meaning to landscape this area right over here to better accommodate the 8 studs house. Maybe we should put our pumpkin patch right there instead. I also think it makes more sense to continue working on things over here because this area is already pretty nicely developed, and the pumpkin patch would be on the base of this hill over here, right off the gravel road, so it just makes sense. But the big question is how am I going to extract this giant plate? It's been a while, and of course we want to work on it upstairs where we have access to all of our parts. Okay, I think I got it figured out. It always takes a little bit of trial and error with this process, just because it's a pretty crazy puzzle here for the city, and we've got to remove trees and fence lines and whatever, maybe crossing over onto different plates or whatever might get in the way. But there's gravel road plate number 1, and now, what do you think, Jose? This one here? Is that another one?
You might have to move the train track.
This train track?
You gotta lift it, I think.
We're gonna destroy our fence. Oh no!
Oh. Thankfully, we didn't tag down the plates in the train yard there.
There we go. Okay, there's plate number 2. Yeah, thankfully we didn't pin them all together either, just because that would be, a challenge. Or just make it even more challenging to get all these big plates out. This one's a big one, and it's got some elevation.
Sketchy. Oh, there's some big trees. Oh no! Oh.
There we go.
Oh.
Timber! The next thing we did was actually build this jack-o'-lantern pickup truck set. Look at that. It's like a pickup truck with a big old jack-o'-lantern on the back. It's got a bone for the bumper. It comes with a nice minifigure. And this is actually a studs not on top technique. And you can actually open the jack-o'-lantern up to reveal some additional elements within. We also want to work in the Creator 3-in-1 haunted house. And then we're going to work in some other mini builds and mini sets as well. We've got the entrance to the pumpkin patch right there. That came with this older Halloween style set that has the tractor. Also the guy dressed up like a mummy and a spider on top. Then we've got some scarecrows, other minifigures and accessories, a black cat. We're going to have to locate more spiders, and then we have some more skeletons and also a chicken coop. Now we're going to have to take to our parts inventory here to try and find some more stuff. It looks like we found all the spiders and some other animals that can be scattered around the area, along with more pumpkins. But hey, Jose, I think we're going to have to order some more pumpkins. I don't think that's nearly enough, so we'll get on doing that right away. But wait a minute, maybe we can use this. It is the Halloween pumpkin. It lights up, and it includes a ghost. You can even change the jack-o'-lantern's face, but maybe this one's just a little bit too large, but it might look funny in the pumpkin patch. Give that some thought. Here's all the plates that we ended up extracting, and now we're starting to plot some things down, such as the haunted house and our entrance. Not sure where that's going to go at this particular point, and we also need to figure out what we're going to do for the fence. Thinking maybe these pre-molded elements with 1x1 bricks and a tile on top just to frame it. Maybe we should match the other fence going around the train yard using the reddish-brown elements, but we're out of reddish-brown 1x plates. We can't really do that. Now I'm thinking maybe we should use like masonry and create some sort of cool masonry wall rather than a fence. So Mrs. Bricksie, she's starting to plot out the entrance. We're thinking it's going to go somewhere in the corner over there, and we'll have the masonry wall come off of that. I'm going to modify this here So you'll see that there's all the odd shaped plate on the bottom of it. So it's a little bit hard to place randomly somewhere. So I'm probably going to remove all of the dark tan and then put a new foundation on it that's just like the outline of the house, and then we can use the odd shaped dark tan to actually create like a pad for the building. So it just makes more sense in the landscape. Swapped up all those big odd shaped plates on the bottom of that, made a pad using the dark tan and reddish browns. We have a bigger spot for the graveyard now, and this should just slide into place like so. Got the angry tree off to the right of the entrance and a much bigger graveyard. So I'll have to create some more tombstones, and we also want to improve the look of this sign right here. That's like the original from the set with the sticker elements. I like it though. Very cute, very clever, but I think we can just add some more stuff. Maybe some bats, maybe some vines, maybe some different flowers off to the side of it or something. And we also want to connect our masonry wall, which we started constructing right there, using some plate, masonry bricks, 1x2 rounded plates, and also some of the modified bricks with the forward-facing studs to give it some more texture. And we'll have that so it goes right up against our entrance. That's what we'll try and take care of next. We need to start here just because this is like one of the main structures and it takes up a lot of space. But now we sort of can branch out and work everywhere else as well. The stone fence is located 2 studs away from the road, and it connects to our modified entrance. The entrance is now wider. The supports on either side don't just go straight up and down. They have a little bit of a curve to them. We did that by switching out some of the reddish brown connectors. Those are the Technic ones. And we put some pins in the available holes there, and that allowed us to add some vegetation creeping up the side as well. We also added some jumpers on the top there so we could position some bats because that matches the theme. And best of all, look at that. Changed the supports, added one of the ratchet connectors on the bottom, and that allowed us to add sunflowers on either side. Custom built the sunflowers using the yellow leaves and also some circular reddish brown elements, and then their stems are some of the bamboo pieces along with some cylinders. So the entrance is much, much, much better. We also ripped apart some of the mill's work underneath the entrance and added more gravel road. And then we spread out some of the gravel, and we also gave it an interesting shape with the wedge plates. But there's no need to have like parking in here or have vehicle access just because there's not going to be a whole lot of space for vehicles. And that'll sort of take away from the whole idea of the pumpkin patch. But you can see the other hinge brick right there that connects to this section of the wall. And because it's hinged, it allowed us to put it at an interesting angle, working all the way back over here toward the creek, where we actually have a different natural fence. We were thinking, oh, maybe we should have another masonry wall along the creek, but no. Why not just put down some fern elements and different types of vegetation and have a natural continuation of the fence along the creek? And we also added some more tombstones to our graveyard. Got some interesting ones in the back there using different elements. Some are at angles, some are dark gray, some are light gray. Got some bones in there, and also more reddish brown ingot tiles. And then we tacked down the entrance to the haunted house, just using some jumpers. And of course we left the gate open because people will be able to go into said haunted house. Beside the haunted house is a pumpkin carving table. It's 3 studs wide by 8 studs. And put jumpers all over it, position some knives and also some pumpkins there, and that's where you can carve a jack-o'-lantern. Now the pumpkins aren't free, so we created this little stand right here, and this is where an employee can work to collect payment for the pumpkins. It uses some dark blue slope elements for the little covering. There's a 2x8 tan plate underneath there, and it connects to those like modified 1x1 pieces, and the supports come down, connect to some masonry bricks with jumpers, and then there's some inverted slopes on the front of it, along with a couple spooky items. And of course, a place where they can collect cash and register the sale. Typically, you can buy little miniature pumpkins when visiting pumpkin patches, so we've got a little display of those right by the cash counter as well. And once our pumpkins arrive, there's going to be an abundance of pumpkins, but those are on the way from the Lego group right now. Ordered them through their Bricks and Pieces online. We've got some more mini pumpkins on display right there next to our haystack, which we jumpered in place and made 2 layers. So you've got 2x2 there. Use some of the modified profile bricks there. And then we've got one right here, which is 3x4. and that's all held in place by a jumper on the bottom. Just sort of a unique thing that you would find at a pumpkin patch. And also, you would find this by animals. So we have a little fenced off area right here, and this is where you can feed the chickens and the goats. We've got some feed in there, also some more hay, and you can feed them yourselves as well. There's a little feed dispenser, pop in a quarter, get your feed, and have fun feeding the animals here at the pumpkin patch. Just like the stone wall and the pumpkin patch, this is held in place at a nice angle there, and we added some more wedge plates underneath, just like we did over here. You can see the wedge plates for the reddish brown actually connect to the cemetery or graveyard there, and it feeds around. The reddish brown is where our pumpkins are gonna go. Once we have the pumpkins, we're gonna position our scarecrow within there, maybe even 2 of them, and then the dark tan represents the pathway that people walk on. And look at that, we've got a cat on our masonry wall. So this right here was the 2024 Halloween GWP. You got this for free when you hit a certain threshold on the LEGO website. This year's is a spooky ghost. I'm not sure if it's still available. It is available starting on the 7th of October. I'm not sure when this video is going to launch, but that's pretty spooky. Either way, what we did was actually remove the ghost and the green wedge plates from the bottom of this. So we just have the large jack-o'-lantern like that there, and we're actually going to place it amongst our pumpkin patch, probably somewhere around there, and that's going to be a photo op for people who visit the pumpkin patch. It'll light up, you can snap a cool photo with a really nice background, you can check out the haunted house, and when our pumpkins arrive, you can also pick up a pumpkin. But that's as far as we can bring this build for today. We'll see you again, I guess, in a few days, once our pumpkins arrive. All right, the box of pumpkins has arrived. Oh yes, it was a big box of pumpkins indeed. We've got 12 jack-o'-lanterns and 30 standard pumpkins, along with some additional vegetation there. And we might have topped the order up with some rock panels for our mountains, and also some more 16 by 16s for mills plating. But these are going to come in handy for when it comes to detailing the pumpkin patch. Pumpkins, sunflowers, minifigures, and stories brings it over the top. I love this. Let's place it in the city. What do you think, Jose, from afar? You can see those sunflowers pop, hey?
It is a nice pop of color.
For sure. The orange and the yellow, it works. I love it. We're all about those pops of color, everybody. A nice pop of color. Also, because this area was like pretty much fully forested, we were able to redistribute the trees, and therefore the forests become more dense in other areas. However, we want to continue building more trees. So we put this little pumpkin truck right off to the side here.
You just park there in some trees?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Look what's coming out the back of the pumpkin truck. Some spiders. There's a row of them there. And then look how densely packed our pumpkin patch is.
It's a lot of pumpkins.
Tons of pumpkins, and all around them it's detailed with those like 3-pronged leaf elements. Also some of the standard limb pieces. And then those like really cool looking ones. What are those called, Mrs. Bricksie? You order parts.
I can't remember. They're like vines.
Vines, that's sort of what they look like.
That's what I call them.
And our sunflowers are really tall, so we decided to put some of those in the back just because that adds sort of like a forced perspective and sort of builds it up. And those are amongst our natural like fence line there that's built with the fern elements. And then there's a small grouping of sunflowers on the front there as well.
So the inspiration for the pumpkin patch, we wanted to do a pumpkin patch, but our local corn maze has the corn maze. It also has sunflowers and sunflower maze. And it has like goat feeding and animals and a haunted house at Halloween. So we got some ideas from that.
That's why we decided to add all of these details. You can see there's a lady leaving with her carved jack-o'-lantern right there. We have an employee working at the booth there.
Where you can buy like little mini pumpkins also.
Mm-hmm. And then we have the area where you can feed the animals, and you can see there's some minifigures posed now. They're buying the feed and feeding the animals. We also have some people checking out some of the mini pumpkins right there in our mini pumpkin stand, and the werewolf sort of freaking people out behind the hay, and then a beautiful photo op right there.
At first we thought that might be a little big, and it is for sure a big pumpkin, but it's a cool photo op, and we made it work.
I think it works
It's
too.
like
with
in the
this-
patch, right?
Yeah, yeah. With the sunflowers on either side of it too, it sort of works because those are really tall as it. And you'll notice that there's more jack-o'-lanterns all over the place. We've got one on display right there beside the large jack-o'-lantern. There's also a bench right there. And then there's like a 3-tiered podium right here with more jack-o'-lanterns just behind the place where you can carve them. And watch out, there's Frankenstein, or Frankenstein's monster, creeping people out. She doesn't seem too worried though. She's like waving at them. And then there's a ghost flying above. Unique angle there with one of those curved minifig poser bars or posing bars. And then in the graveyard there, we positioned a skeleton as well. But yeah, the colors really sort of, made it come to life. It was cool walking this project through the different phases of construction, like figuring out where it's going to go, figuring out how to fence it off, how to modify the front gate, wedge plating everything just to better accommodate the haunted house that was modified, expanding the graveyard, fencing off the
improving the entrance too.
Yeah, improving the entrance significantly, modifying the mill's work under that, and then just like doing all the last final things like fixing all the trees in the surrounding area and all those awesome touches, right, Jose?
Even just like placing all the pumpkins and getting all the greenery in there took a good while. That was like one of the last things we did. And then the sunflowers.
Well, yeah, it's a ton of parts that goes into something like this. It might
Yeah.
not look like it takes a lot of time, but when you're like laying whatever, hundreds and hundreds of parts strategically and coming up with the idea at the same time, it just takes a little bit longer than
Well,
you would
you
expect.
could just throw down a couple pumpkins and
We could
on
have
some
done
brown
that.
plate and call it a day, but there's a lot of parts that go into it to make it look so dense.
Well, that's what's cool about Lego Landscape is, you can keep adding to it. There's no amount of detail. It doesn't go too, like you can never bring it too far, right? Like this area already looked pretty good with the 8 studs house before, but there's just a few scattered trees. There was no trail or anything. So we're like, okay, well, let's improve this area. And that's how we always build in the city here. We always build in layers. We're always like, okay, well, this area is just temporarily holding a bunch of trees here, and eventually we'll do the exact same thing over here. We'll deforest the whole area, add a whole bunch of detail here, and then reforest it, and eventually it'll all sort of be packed with detail just like this here. Sort of our process. We hope you enjoyed it.
So yeah, thanks so much for watching.
Have yourselves a great day, and please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Bye for now.